Okay. So I already started my for people who are just on audio. I already started my Zoom. So for Patreon, because I put these videos on Patreon. Who knows why? I literally don't even put on makeup, do my hair, nothing, and there's nothing fascinating about my surroundings. So it's kind of pointless, but I do it anyways. And I was just telling Patreon that like I'm looking real greasy because during the week I put coconut oil in my hair. And I buy this fractionated coconut oil. I don't know what that means, but fractionated coconut oil from Amazon. And somehow it's like less greasy. It's more, I mean, it's oil, but it doesn't like drip like today. So then today I use just like this tub of, um, it's a solid. It's like a soft solid, so it's not complete liquid. What I usually use is complete liquid. I squirt it onto my hands, rub it through my hair, tie my hair up, and leave it there for days, literally, during the week, because what do I care? I don't ever see anybody. I'm trying to get my hair healthy. Since I've moved to Tucson, I don't think it's grown a fucking millimeter. Like, it hasn't grown at all. I've stopped dyeing it. I used to dye it just my natural color because I'm getting grays right around my temples. I've stopped doing that for like months at this point. It's amazing I'm not totally white. I brush it. I wash it like maybe twice a week. And now I've started keeping coconut oil in it, castor oil, rosemary oil, like all these oils that are supposed to be great for your scalp, great for moisturizing your hair. And I'm not seeing a difference. Like, it's still not growing. I did buy like a filtered shower head that's supposed to filter out because there's really hard water in Arizona. And don't ask me more about that because I don't know. I just know that it like there's like white calcification on the faucet and on the shower head if you don't like scrape it off. It's gross. I'm assuming that's not great for your hair. So I bought like a shower head that has a filter in it. My shower pressure here is it's like a drip. Literally. It's like drip, drip. It's nothing. So not that has anything to do with the health of my hair. But that didn't seem to help. Now maybe it was just a shitty buy, I never buy the most expensive of anything. So I got like the bargain one on Amazon. I found another one the other day that's like $20. Here we go again with the bargain one, but I'm probably going to buy it anyways and see if that maybe helps. I'm taking hair growth supplements like biotin. I said that really weird. Biotin and vitamin B stuff and collagen. I used to put collagen in my coffee every day. This brand called Great Lakes. I don't know if it helped. I will say that in Georgia, my hair was so long, like so long. It just grew and grew and grew. I'm guessing that might have to do with like the humidity, the not hard water. I don't know, but since it's not very humid here, I thought keeping, coconut oil in my hair would be a great, something. It's not really working. I'm continuing to do it. And I started this because I look greasy because today I just like scooped a big scoop of the coconut oil solid. Like you can use it for cooking or salad dressings. And I just like rubbed it between my hands and then slathered it on my hair. And so all day I could feel like gooplets dropping down my neck. It was really gross. And it's slowly like sliding onto my face. So on Zoom, the sides of my face look like real greasy now. Like they're shiny in the light. All right, guys. And that's the bonus episode. I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm going to talk about on the bonus episode today. I mean, I guess I'm going to maybe talk about Henry, which is kind of a drag for Patreon people because I already posted a video like the second I got home from the from the oncologist on Friday, because truthfully, I wanted to like talk it out. And I didn't want to hear anyone else's opinion in the moment. Like, I didn't want to call one of my friends who would have listened and been wonderful. I didn't want to talk to Mark. I didn't want to talk, like, I just wanted to talk it out and not have anybody tell me like what they thought or be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because I was just so overwhelmed. Like, when I tell you this oncologist that I saw here, first of all, we left the cardiologist last week, the previous Friday, feeling pretty good. Like, okay, he has a big heart tumor. That's not great, but like, this cardiologist seemed hopeful that it was a slow growing tumor and very likely not going to spread cancer. I don't know if he said not cancerous. I know he said benign, which means not cancerous. But then when I researched it more, this chemodectoma, which is apparently what Henry has, it is cancer. But it's often referred to as benign because it can grow so slowly. Okay. I found that online. This oncologist that I saw did not explain that to me. She came in like a tornado. She looks like she just got out of veterinary school. Very nice. Like nothing against her at all. She's clearly very smart and loves her job. It seems like a weird job to love. I mean, I guess it's happy when you treat animals with cancer and they get better for a while. But she came in it was weird. I kind of understand it. Sorry. They took Henry, like her nursing assistant, who was actually a vet school student, I think here at the U of A, came in and talked to me first, asked me about Henry, took some notes, etc., and then took him in the back. And then she came in like 20 minutes later without Henry, which I guess makes sense. So there's no like distraction. But it was weird because she sat with me for almost 2 hours. Henry was in the back and talked. Granted, she did ask me, do you have questions? And I was like, most of the time I was like, no. But initially, like when she started talking, she's like, okay, well, I looked at Henry's echocardiogram, which we got done at the cardiologist. So mind you, this woman has done no additional tests. She's not taken a blood test. She has not done any scans or x-rays or anything. She's like listened to his heart with her stethoscope, taken his temperature. She said she tried to like stick something in his butt and he got kind of upset about it. And so she stopped. Like a basic exam. She has no additional testing information. And so she just starts, she's like, first we're going to go over, so he has a chemodectoma, and anytime we're dealing with cancer, blah, blah, blah. And my mind was like taking a minute to catch up. She starts talking about, she was like, we're going to talk about the treatment options first. And then based on what you think you might want to do as far as treatment, then we'll talk about the diagnostic tests that are required for that. And I was like, whoa, wait. I was like, we were under the impression that there was a chance this could be benign. Like maybe he doesn't need treatment. Like this is just a growth on his heart, like a fatty tumor mass or something. And she kind of like looked at me like I sprouted 4 heads and said, well, I mean, benign. Like I can't really think of a heart tumor that's benign. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I'm not a cardiologist or an oncologist. I've never had a heart tumor. So that's news to me. Like, that's what the cardiologist said, and I just believed it, She's like, well, are you sure that's what he said? He maybe didn't say that. Maybe he meant something else. And I was like, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so he definitely has cancer. And she's like, yes, he definitely has cancer. I was like, so the tumor is 100% cancerous. And in my head, I'm thinking, but you haven't done any tests. You haven't taken a biopsy. You haven't, how do you know that? And I guess she knows it because there is no such thing as a heart tumor that's not cancerous. There you go. So for the next 90 minutes, she takes me through 2 different types of radiation that are an option and 2 different types of chemo that are an option. The cheapest out of all 4 of these options is $8,000. And like takes me through them like as if there's a whiteboard in the room and I'm sitting, she's standing, she's writing on the whiteboard. It's like she's leading a college lecture. And she thinks that I'm a med student because some of the things that she's saying, she's like, you know, for this chemo, it's called this because that's the drug. It's called palliative, which I know is end of life care. So it's weird that they call it that. But she's like, it's because we use a drug called Palladia. And, you know, we could use, and she like lists other drugs. And she's like, but that would be ridiculous, you know? And I'm like looking at her like, no, I don't fucking know. I don't even know what you're saying half of the time right now. Like I understood the gist. So there was no questions to ask, like, can you explain it again? Like I've been through this already with my mom. I was having flashbacks to like driving up to Phoenix to like Mayo and different doctors here and getting these different doctors' opinions. And now that I'm saying this, I'm kind of recognizing what it was about her that was just irking me. And it's probably because I met a lot of doctors. We saw a lot of doctors when my mom was sick before we decided like what doctor we were going to go with, what treatments we were going to try. And a lot of them just had this kind of air about them, like they were talking about, you know, a fried chicken recipe, like, well, this and this and this and this. And I guess I understand that as somebody who's day in and day out treating and dealing with cancer, you have to develop some type of kind of hard shell to it and be immune to it and look at it like, you know, like a fried chicken recipe, like not so emotional. I get that. I do. But there was also with most of those doctors, like a very real sense of superiority. Like, not that they were talking down to us, but just that's the best way I can describe it. And she had that as well. So she's taking me through all these different treatments. And she's like, this is the Cadillac of radiations. Like if my dog had cancer, she said that 8 times in this 90 minutes. If my dog had cancer, this is what I would do. And I was like, of course you would. You're a vet. You're an oncologist. You could do that for free, first of all, and you could afford to, even if you had to pay for it. Like, my mind is blown right now with how places like this stay in business, because who the fuck can afford this? There's no payment plans. There's no like discounts based on your income. Like the Cadillac of all radiations, which is great if if the tumor hasn't spread. If it's just in his heart and it hasn't spread, that's $9,000. And I take him every day for a month, just weekdays. So 5 days a week for a month. And he gets put under anesthesia for about 10 to 15 minutes every day. And they radiate that tumor. And that's like the most effective. But before we do that, if that was our choice, which we can't afford that, we have to get a CT scan because we need to see if the cancer has spread anywhere else, which I totally understand. And then included with that CT scan is something called an aspirate, where she's going to pull like cells out of the tumor and send those off for DNA testing to see if there's like some weird mutation or something. But the main point is to do the full body CT scan so you can see if there's cancer anywhere else. Because if there is, then radiation doesn't really make sense because you're just radiating the tumor. I get all that. But they actually printed me out a quote for what the CT scan would cost to do on Henry specifically, because he's a bigger dog, and it's $3,000. So $3,000, then let's say there's no cancer anywhere else, then we're going to do then $9,000 more. And there's, of course, no guarantees with that. And I understand that, whether it be a dog, a human, like I've been through this with my mom. I get it. There's no guarantees. That's the chance you take. But that's a $12,000 chance that I'm taking. And if I have, an extra 12 grand laying around, then great. I don't. So then there's a step down radiation. And that's about 4,500, but you have to do the CT scan first. And it's the same thing. You just do it once a day or once a week for a month instead of every day. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess it's like the more affordable option. Like we're going to half kick that tumor's ass, not completely. Like, okay, I guess. Yeah, it's better than nothing, I suppose. And then the chemo, and granted, she spent a lot more time talking about this. The chemo options were the first one, like the better chemo option is taking a chemo pill that I would give Henry 3 days a week, potentially for the rest of his life. There's no timeline on it. It like keeps the cancer from growing and spreading pretty well, but there's no like end game with it. Like you just keep him on that forever. And that's $900 a month. Now you don't have to do the CT scan first. You can just do blood work and an abdominal ultrasound and x-rays, which are $1,100 or something. So a little bit less. And then $900 a month for the rest of his life. And that could be years. I mean, Henry's like, we don't know because I adopted him, but he's like 7-ish, we think. He could live for 7 more years. Not if we don't treat this tumor, which I'm able to say now because I've already gotten all of my crying out about it. Maybe, we'll see. And then the other option for chemo is traditional chemo, like they stick a needle in you, and that would be, I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. It's once every 4 weeks, once every 3 to 6 weeks, something like that. And it's about $1,000. And that's, again, indefinite. We don't know. If he starts having bad reactions, we take him off for a while and then we keep going. Who knows? Again, no guarantees with any of this. And then at the very bottom, she had written on the whiteboard, comfort care. And I was like, I take it comfort care means that you can't afford any of this, and so you're going to do nothing. And she's like, yes, and that is a feasible option. And I'm sitting there looking at all these options like, no, who can afford this? Again, this is like how I was like speechless. I was like, so let's say I choose to do nothing. And that's not really a choice. That's just by the fact that I can't afford any of this, because who the fuck can afford any of this? Can you give, like, could he be okay for a while? Is he going to be in pain? Because I don't want him to be in pain. So whatever I need to do to make sure that doesn't happen. Is there a medication I can give him that isn't $900 a month? What? There's got to be another option. And she's like, not to treat the cancer. No, not to keep it from growing. So it could continue to grow and it will continue to press on his aorta and his breathing tubes. It'll be hard for him to breathe. Eventually he'll probably have some type of cardiac arrest or cardiomyopathy, maybe. All these awful things she's saying. I was like, so are we talking weeks? Months? Like if I can like raise the money to give him one of these treatments, could that extend his life years? And she's like, it could. But then again, it couldn't. It might not. Like, no shit. But give me I know that it might not work, but statistically, like in your experience, which can't be much because she looks like she's 20 years old. I sound like I'm really shitting on her, and I'm not. She was very kind and spent a lot of time with me, did thoroughly, almost too thoroughly explain everything. And so it's nothing against her. There was just a lot of, again, it just felt very, and she was delivering bad news. So that might have something to do with it too. I don't know. I have to let Indiana out. I'll be right back. I'm going to pause this.
Recording stopped.
Whoa. So So I was just like a zombie Friday. I couldn't function. I couldn't get my brain to work. And then Saturday, I just didn't want to think about it. I did think about it, but I really wanted to. I'm also like not really drinking now because I'm trying so hard to lose weight. And all I wanted to do was get drunk Saturday. And I really tried hard. Couldn't. It's just like it starts to like make me feel a little nauseous because I'm not drinking that much. I'm also taking like all these supplements that the naturopath is having me take. So maybe that's why. I don't know. It's just really hard for me to have more than like 2 or 3 drinks lately. And that's not enough to get me drunk. And that's all I wanted. Because I wanted to like wipe it from my brain and not think about it because there's really nothing to think about. And I'm sorry to sound complainy, but like, I know there are other people who have gone through this. I know that there are listeners who have experienced this and dealt with this, whether it be cancer for your dog or your cat or tumors or some type of just animal sickness. And like, I've just been all weekend like fighting here. We're going to go with a little bit of the tears. I've been fighting this feeling of guilt. Like, wow, I am such a fucking piece of shit that I cannot afford to take care of my dog the way that he needs to be taken care of. And I realize that that's not like that is factually true, but it is not like there's more to that statement and story, obviously. I just don't know what people like, how people who are in a similar financial situation to me, which I have to believe that I'm not the only 40-year-old who lives paycheck to paycheck and is struggling. Like, how do you get through something like this where you know you really can't do anything? And so then I'm just like going to watch him die. And when he starts to seem like he's uncomfortable, try to do something about that. Like she said, we could give him steroids if his breathing gets bad to like reduce the inflammation, but he can only be on that for a short time, which I understand because I have asthma and I've had to do that. But like, I don't know. Full transparency, Mark was like, start a GoFundMe. Just start a GoFundMe and post it everywhere. I know people do that, but I feel like they do that for like their own cancer or their children's cancer or illness or injury or something like that. Like, do people do GoFundMes for their dogs? And doesn't that seem like, help me, I can't pay for this, so give me money? I don't know. I don't know what my like aversion is to it, but something about it feels weird and bad. I mean, you know, he said the same thing that like I've seen TikToks where it's like somebody was about to get evicted and they were like, if everybody could just go to my PayPal link and donate $1, if, you know, 20,000 people do it, I can save my house and my children's home. I've seen that several times. I'm not trying to make light of it. If those are actually true and that's what the people are using the money for, which I hope it is, then amazing that actually happened and people are willing to go donate $1. I actually think I in the past have donated to one of those that I've seen. And Mark said the same thing. He's like, if you know, 5,000 people donate $1, and I get it. It's true. I don't know. I'd love opinions on that. Like honest opinions, because I don't know why. And then I started to think, well, if this was Izzy, would I do it? That's a terrible thing to think. I'm being probably too honest right now. This is one of those moments Mark would be like, reel it in. You need to keep some things to yourself. I don't have an answer to that shitty question either. I don't know. Probably not. I think I just feel weird at asking for not for help, for financial help, perhaps. Which is weird because I have no problem like asking for like emotional support or listen to me cry about my breakup or, you know, join my Patreon so that you can pay $5 a month to hear me jibber jabber on my morning walk with Henry. Like, don't have a problem with any of that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to know opinions. If anybody has any, if there's any vets or vet techs listening, if you have any insight into this. I've done nothing since Friday in regards to this because, like I said, there really is no choice. I can't afford any of those options. So comfort care apparently is the option that I'm going to have to choose unless I get a second opinion, which that office is one of the few oncology places here in Tucson. So I really liked the cardiologist up in Phoenix, and they have an oncologist at that. Like, it's oncology, cardiology, it's a whole big thing. But then am I just trying to get a second opinion because I didn't like what she told me? And I just want someone to tell me, like, it could take years for this to grow and spread and he could be fine. I don't know. I don't know. And now I have spent a solid 26 minutes bitching, which I've taken this should be called like my secret diary journals of things that I want to talk out loud to myself about. What else? Let's change the topic because I don't have much else to say on that. So I'm just going to do a real like quick and not good transition into something else. I have some notes here. I'm trying to add to the website. So I'm going to add a section for recipes because talking about my Uncle Ricky's fish tacos, which are seriously phenomenal. I know I haven't posted that yet. I was thinking like we have a lot of good family recipes, and I know a lot of people are like, no, you have to keep your family recipes like it's family secret, but why? Most of my family is honestly dead, and if I can share recipes that we've made for years that are continuously good and are healthy and or wonderful for the holidays or anything like that, then like why wouldn't I share that? So working on adding a page to the website where I'm going to start posting like family recipes, pictures of it from when we've made it and stuff like that. Again, nothing to do with true crime, but at this point without Jenna here, and again, that is presumably temporary and not forever, but this podcast kind of becomes, yes, true crime, but also all the other things going on in my life. So recipes. And I know I posted this on our Instagram the other day. I know a lot of people also don't have Instagram, don't use Instagram, don't follow us, whatever. So I'm going to say it. But if you don't follow us or don't watch like the stories I post, I'll try and put I will put his link in the show notes for this. His Instagram name is Jason Trailcam Miller, and he's here in Arizona somewhere. I don't know where. And his whole entire like Instagram feed, his reels are just these phenomenal, like 30-second to a minute videos of wildlife. So he's set up actual like cameras. He must have a big property. It looks like Tucson, but I don't know. Somewhere in Arizona, he has a big property, and he's like created these little watering holes. I think some of them are natural watering holes up in Flagstaff that he must travel to. And then some of them he's made on his property where he like puts rocks around them, fills it with water and whatnot, and then sets up like a camera on the ground there. The videos are incredible. Like so many videos that, again, must be in Flagstaff because I don't think there's bears like down here in Tucson, even in the mountains. Maybe. I should know that. But like the quails videos, like the little birds that come up to this watering hole, and it's like they're so close. It's such a clear video. All these babies and the mom like drinking water. This mule deer. I never heard of this animal, this deer type here in Arizona, but like comes up and just all you see is like its bottom of its nose and its eyes, and it's just staring right at the camera. It's just like drinking. Like you can hear it drinking. Coyotes, fox, coatimundi, which are like these like raccoon. They look like raccoon / sloth / monkeys kind of. Snake came up to the watering hole. Raven, crows. So many animal. Just please go check it out. If you're an animal lover, and or live or are interested in the Southwest, because it's. I mean, to me, it was a baby coyote he has on video. Oh my God, javelinas, which are like pigs here, like wild boar here. The babies, the full grown ones are like full grown, like big looking pigs, and the babies that are in the video are like they could fit in my hand. Oh my God, I loved it. I watched it for so long this weekend. Oh, okay. It was so rude. Sorry, I had to yawn. And did really nothing else this weekend. I was trying to escape my current reality this weekend, in full honesty. And usually I can do that by staying like busy, staying active, working on my stuff for a gym, like my work with Jim, working on Death by Southwest, writing episodes, exercise, like just staying busy. That's how I got through the breakup after I spent, weeks in bed. I then like just stayed busy, painting, this, that, doing whatever. This weekend I took a different approach. I took the full couch potato, just like TV and just zone out. And we watched, I don't know, 20 hours of Criminal Minds, like back to back to back to back. Stopped to like shower, cook, and sit outside with the dogs. That's about it. I don't necessarily feel better, but I think it was what I needed. And I found a post on Instagram that I'm going to share. I should just share it on Instagram. But I don't know how many people like don't use Instagram, don't follow us. Instagram is really the only social media site I use, and I've turned Death by Southwest. I have my own personal one. I've turned the Death by Southwest one into like my personal one, essentially, because it's the podcast, yes, but it's also life in the Southwest, and I live in the Southwest now. So not now, again, I wasn't here for a while. So like, I don't want to, what am I going to post on my personal Instagram that I'm not going to post on my actual or my podcast Instagram? Same thing. And I don't need to be posting on both. That seems repetitive. But I know, some people don't have Instagram. I am also trying, now I'm going to start just everything I post on Instagram, I'm going to put on TikTok. I'm just going to start like overloading it. And, here comes Kat. Hi. Hi, Kat. Kat, can you say hi? Kat. I don't know if they'll be able to hear that. Kat. He answers like a dog sometimes. Oh, here comes Indiana. What's up, Indiana? Cat's up here. Cat's up here. Oh, look, you can like see the glistening off of my head. Coconut oil is going to start dripping down. Where the fuck was I? Oh, Instagram and stuff. Plus, I spend a good amount of time on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the things for running like gyms. I run gym brewers, Instagrams, social medias. Wow. 8:00 at night is not the prime time for me, I'll tell you. Anyways, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but sometimes on the weekend, I'm going to say we, because generally it's me and Mark lately, we get like real shouldy. I don't know how to say that. I'm using air quotes, but like we should be doing this and we should be doing that. And like, we only have 2 days of the weekend. Like we should be making the most of it. I'm guilty of this so often. Like if I feel like we're not having enough fun or we're not doing enough, I'll get almost like crabby. Like the weekend is passing us by and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And realistically, like, what am I? Cat, stop pushing on the computer. What am I supposed to be doing? If what I want to do and what I need is to lay on the couch and watch Criminal Minds all weekend, why is that not okay? Why should I feel guilty about that? I don't do that during the week. I'm working all day during the week. And if I don't have work things to do, then I'm looking for work. So I don't know, it's this mentality that like you should either be getting all the things done that you didn't do during the week. Like I should finish all the work I didn't do during the week, or I should get all my workouts in, or get the house clean, or and I understand how it feels good to like accomplish things on the weekend. But sometimes you don't, or can't, or don't want to. Sometimes there isn't fun. There's not fun stuff to do in Tucson during the summer. I'll be honest, because unless it's inside or in a swimming pool, I'm not doing it. So this post from Positively Present Instagram account says Saturday reminders, and I will post this, but I wanted to share a few of them. Release ideas of how you should spend the day. Choose activities that inspire, excite, or relax you. Criminal Minds weirdly relaxes me. Try not to compare your day with anyone else's. That's true of any day, I think. Focus on the present. Again, true of any day. Remember, weekend blues happen and it's okay. Okay, so basically the main one of this was that release ideas of how you should spend the day. Out of the 10 things listed, that's really the only one that applies to what I'm saying. But it was a good reminder because I do think that it's really easy to get in that mindset of like, it's the weekend, I have to either get a bunch done or have a ton of fun or, you know. And maybe I'm saying all of this because I want to feel better about my Criminal Minds binge weekend. But yeah, tell me what you did on your weekend. Send us voicemails. Let's see. Oh, I did get a message on, did I share this already? Patreon from Nat. Well, she shared it in the group chat. I think I did share this, that she took the Human GPS's recommendation to eat at the Triple T truck stop. I definitely shared that. I loved it though. I like hearing that like one listener says something that I share and another listener does it, or I don't know. I like seeing everybody talk on Patreon. But yeah, I'm behind on Instagram messages as always. Like a broken fucking record, aren't I? Jesus. So Chastity from the Midwest. That's all I'll say because I don't want to be too specific about where she's from. She sent us, no, it's not in front of me. She sent us a message to our website, which is also a great way to get in touch. I haven't gotten a message in a while. The last one I got, I think, was that really, really mean one from Jean Nelson, I read that. Like, so I'm looking at it again. It's so mean. She called me an idiot, a lunatic, needy. I'm totally annoying. I'm a total bitch. Yeah, that was really mean. I'm not going to go there again. I just went there, but I'm not going to go there anymore. So Chastity from the Midwest sent an idea that I like, and I think that I've kind of talked about doing, but I'm also a little bit scared if I'm going to be totally honest. How do I make this smaller? My hands are so greasy. It's not working on my mouse. So she said, hello, here's an idea. I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning. I love the banter between the sisters. I love the bonus episodes, even by yourself. Thank you, Chastity. I don't know if you'll love this one, but thank you. She says, I've listened to too much true crime, and truthfully, when you're doing your true crime episodes with Jenna, they're by far my favorite ones. Totally understand that, and I agree. So she says, I think picking a listener and maybe a crime from their area would be fun. That I have not thought of, and that is kind of a fun idea to like pick a listener in advance, and because I'd have to like research and, you know, find out where they're from and research and write the episode. My goodness, my brain. So that's kind of a cool idea. She said, or stick with the Southwest and find a few listeners to do some shows with when Jenna and Mark aren't available. And this was so nice. She said, I just want to see your show continue and be successful, as I think you've got a great thing going. Now I'm just rambling, and I hope you get my point. That was not rambling, Chastity, if you're listening, by the way. I feel like my solo bonus episodes, those are rambling. I'm rambling. I rambled for 25 minutes about Henry. I need to remember to put that in the show description so that people who don't want to hear about it can just skip. But I like that idea. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, I feel like I don't know why I would be nervous to do an episode of something. You know, it would need to be on Zoom, so that I could record the listener's audio. I would be nervous that like I would either like disappoint or be awkward, not awkward, or that it would be awkward. I don't think that if I'm going to be honest, I'm generally not awkward with people. I can get along with most people and meet people and pretty much like most people that I meet. Maybe not the oncologist. But so I'm not worried that maybe I would be awkward. Maybe I'm worried the other person would be awkward and then I would feel bad and it would make the whole thing awkward. But maybe that's also what would be kind of the beauty of it. It would just be kind of experimental. Like if it sucks and the other person's really nervous or awkward or strange, which is understandable going on a podcast if you've never been on a podcast, that you would feel that way. Maybe it would just be like interesting for people to hear. I don't know. Somehow it makes me a little bit nervous, but I need to get over that because Human GPS has been wanting to come on the show for a while. And I think he would be a really interesting person to have on because he knows a little bit of everything in the whole world. And other listeners, like I've had other listeners who have said they would want to, had listeners who've said they'd want to meet for cocktail hour here in Tucson, like once it's cooler out. I'm assuming like after that, maybe one of them would want to come on. So it's a good idea. It's an idea I'm just going to have to like rip the Band-Aid off and do, I think. Because Jenna was never really into doing like cocktails on Zoom with all of the patrons, or definitely not cocktail hour here. She wanted me to do it first and then report. She's just again, much more private person and much more concerned about like keeping her life and herself private, not putting too much of herself out there, which is not at all an issue for me. But I do want to do those things. Like I do want to have like a cocktail hour Zoom with all the patrons because I run those for Jim. I've talked about that I work for Jim Brewer. But for his $50 a month patrons, which is insane to me that people pay that much. But he gets on Zoom with them. Granted, he's a celebrity, so different. But he gets on Zoom with them once a month and hangs out for like an hour, sometimes 2. And they all just talk. And there's maybe like 15, 20 of them on there. And they've all become friends with each other. So like my Zoom subscription ran out. So I can't run them anymore on Zoom. So I have one of the actual patrons run it on Zoom. But I used to like leave my Zoom open and they'd stay and I'd go to bed and they'd stay on. Jim would leave. They'd stay on for hours because they all became friends and like wanted to continue talking even without Jim. And I just think it's so cool that they've like all found, they're from all over the world and they've all found these kind of like friendships in each other because they're all big fans of Jim. And so I do think it would be fun to do a Zoom. I'll be honest, I'd probably like put a time limit on it just in case it was really weird. I would have been out. But like a 30 or 45-minute Zoom, at least the first time with like everybody on Patreon. Just to like say hi. I don't know. Jim's patrons seem to love it. And I do, and I would like, I've talked about it. I don't have a lot of friends here. It's hard to make friends in your 40s. And I'm fine with that. I don't need a lot of friends, but I think it'd be fun to go out for a few drinks with people who listen and live here in Tucson. So it is my goal that this fall, I'm going to blame it on the weather right now, but I mean, nobody wants to go outside, sit outside and have drinks, but this fall I'm going to pull the trigger on cocktail hour. I think originally I said like girls cocktail hour, but we have some men listeners here. So I think we could just make it like a cocktail hour for whoever wants to come, at least at first. And a Zoom Patreon cocktail Zoom and having at least one listener on, whether it be for a bonus episode or an actual episode, like, well, at least just trying it once. And if it goes well, then making it like a repeated thing. Okay. I talked about the recipes, Chastity, Jason, Trail Cam, bro. Oh, I've been listening to some podcasts lately. Well, I've been trying to listen to podcasts lately. And I'll be honest, nothing is catching my interest, which is similar to life these days. I feel like this is perhaps my midlife crisis. Nothing is exciting me or interesting me. Let's see. I was listening to for a couple weeks there the FBI retired case file review with Jerry Williams. I'll try to remember to put a link in show notes for Jason Trailcam and these podcasts. So I was listening to that, but I'm also having like a moment where I'm just currently obsessed with all things in the behavioral analysis unit of the FBI. I'm finding it like so fascinating. And I still am, and I still like that. But I just happen to kind of like be perusing through the browse tab on Apple Podcasts and came across, well, I started listening to one called Just Married. I love an Australian accent. I couldn't understand half of the things that this person was saying. So that didn't work. And then, I don't know, a couple others. But this one, it's by The New Yorker. It's called In the Dark, or at least season 1 is called In the Dark. And it is about Jacob Wetterling, who was kidnapped in 1989, I want to say, in the late 80s. I'm only on episode 2. I'll just use the description. When Jacob Wetterling was taken, authorities launched what would turn into one of the largest searches for any missing person in the history of the United States. But that first night, law enforcement didn't cover all the basics. I think that's the description for episode 2. But the whole podcast is about this kidnapping and what went wrong, basically. Like why they pretty quickly tell you that like there was a lot of mistakes, and that's what this podcast is going to be about. And it is, I don't know if it's like the music or the woman's voice who's hosting. The editing is phenomenal. Like the music with the episode, with the interviews cut in, it's done really well. And you really, I don't know. In episode 1, I felt like I could picture this kid who was kidnapped. And so then episode 2, some really disturbing things are explained, and I found myself like crying. It is sad in nature because it's about a kid who got kidnapped. But it's not like an inherently sad podcast. I actually think I'm going to listen to it after I'm done with this. It's that good. So that is my recommendation for a podcast. Do I have anything else to talk about? Did I mention collabs before? Collabs. I feel like a douche when I say that. Collaborations. RJ, I don't have it in front of me, but I think RJ is the one who sent me a message on Instagram saying like it'd be cool if you collabed with another podcast. I know that's what people say. I just feel like an idiot saying it. I think I mentioned that last time. I need to start crossing things out because I have a notebook where I'm like keeping all the notes, all the DMs, everything. So I'm going to start crossing things out that I talked about. Talked about collabs. The last thing that I did today, well, what I spent a lot of time doing today is I have wanted forever an Amazon like storefront. Now that doesn't mean that I'm going to sell things that like I've made or created or bought or anything like that. It's just, it allows me to have basically like a page on Amazon and create lists and link all my favorite products. I shop on it. I like like going through my order. I should just screen record like my order, my past orders on Amazon. The list could wrap around the world several times. Like it is extensive and it is so all over the place. I mean, everything from like pesticide for gnats to cat food to lingerie to, vitamins, shampoo. Okay, none of these things are that outrageous. I realize that as I'm saying them. But just like in succession, scrolling through, it's like, what, weird. Like it's just a real weird mix of things. And there are things, and look, I'm frugal. I was going to say cheap. I'm not cheap because if I could afford to, I'd buy more expensive things. But I can't. So I'm buying, I'm trying to buy skincare for 40-year-old skin that has never had Botox and probably never will. I'm trying to buy skincare that's going to keep it looking great without any filters. That may not exist. But, most of the skincare, the makeup, the things I buy are like under $20 for each thing. So I was like, some of these products are really good, and I want other people to know. I'm not going to get on TikTok and like record maybe I will, but I'm not there yet. Recording myself being like, this is the greatest thing that I just bought from Amazon. So I was never able to get approved. It's called the Amazon Influencer Program, which grosses me out to say as well. But really, it's just like if anybody clicks on one of my products, and they're not mine, but one of the things that I've listed that like this retinol cream that I really love that's like $12. Great. So I linked it onto this Amazon storefront page. And let's say somebody clicks on it and it's like, oh, I'm going to buy it, and buys it. I don't know. I get 2 cents, 3 cents, I think. It's like nothing. But it's a really easy way to share like a lot of the things that I've gotten for vacations that worked really well, or that I've used for supplements in the past, or books that I love. I mean, Jeff Bezos should be sending me a Christmas card with how much I spent on Amazon over the years. I'm sure I'm not the only one, obviously. There's a million people who do that. But I'm willing to try anything, basically. But if it does not live up to like what I thought it was going to be, like I'm obviously never going to buy it again. And I rely heavily on the reviews on Amazon. So all this is to say, there are some products on Amazon that I stand behind and use regularly. And they're not all like makeup and beauty products for all the men who are listening. Like there's some household items and kitchen appliances and supplements and Henry's having a dream. Sorry, I just heard him dreaming. Can you see him behind me? He's right. I'm trying to point him out of my Zoom right there. Anyways, I spent a lot of time doing that. I really love lists. I have 18 notebooks around me right now, literally. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, fine. So I have 11 notebooks, but a lot. And so now I have this Amazon storefront that I have organized into lists of things that I've bought on Amazon and love. So if you are looking for, I don't know, anything, you can go check that out. All right. This is so much longer than I thought it was going to be, and probably so much more boring than you thought it was going to be. I really want to play some voice messages. I know Jess told me that I can play his voice message. Maybe I'll throw it in here at the end. I'm going to do it because it always makes me smile. This is one of the first voice messages he sent. So leave voice messages. It like makes my day to hear them. And I love getting Instagram like audio messages or just typed messages. I love messages, guys. If that's not clear. So send me messages and let me know what else you want to hear. Like I love the advice. I haven't forgotten Micah's suggestions about like what's the one unpopular opinion I have. I think about this question once a day. Still no answer. But yeah, like send more questions and comments and topics and things you want to hear about. I wish that I was somebody who was willing to get political on here because I'd have a lot of things to say, because Mark and I are similar politically, and I'm going to wrap this up, but we have some differing opinions. And I never realized like how strongly my opinions were until recently when we've had some conversations, and he just says like flippant things that I don't even think he actually believes or stands behind. And I find myself like going off the deep end at him. And we always like reel it back in. It's not, we both know that like politics, neither of us are willing to die on any political hill at this point. Although, I don't know, I have found myself getting kind of heated about certain topics. And that's all I'll say, because we, I always remember the bad reviews, and we still have that review, and the woman never reached back out. Like, I wish that she would tell me what she's talking about, but she left a review on Apple saying, give me a break with I really want to read it specifically. And then, maybe she has stopped listening, I'm assuming, but enough already. Been listening since the start of the show, which I appreciate. So thank you for that. I've really enjoyed it until recently. Thank you for that. Please keep politics out of the podcast. I'd hate to quit listening because of your political beliefs. Well, I would hate that too. And that's why I think we do keep politics out of the podcast. Like, I'm sure Jenna or I have perhaps made a snide remark about Trump, but like I can make a snide remark about Biden. I can make a snide remark about anybody, literally. I don't think that expresses either of our political beliefs. I mean, at this point, I said I wasn't going to do this, but at this point, my political beliefs are that I would like someone who's not a fucking moron, and someone who's not dying, and someone who has actual, nope, I take it back. Nope. I'm going to stop right there. I'll get on one. So I feel like we really generally keep politics out of the podcast. Part of me wants to be like, fuck it. I'm going to just share all my political thoughts, because none of them are that strong. It's more political issues that I feel very strongly about. But yeah, sometimes I feel like, fuck it. I'm just going to be like I'm pretty honest on this podcast. I share a lot of my life and my opinions, and don't really hold back. Politically, yes, we don't talk about politics. We don't really talk about sex or religion. And those are the three things that I was always taught, in our family. You weren't allowed to talk about those things at the dinner table either. You really weren't allowed to talk about those things in our house ever. Certainly not sex. You were allowed to, but like we didn't. Like we weren't going to get punished if we brought up politics or sex or religion. But we just didn't. And so we try to run our podcast like we run a dinner table. No sex, religion, or politics. But there are some times where I think like, my dad said something to me when we started this, like you have to make a splash. Like there has to be some shock and awe. You have to make some people dislike you. Like turn some people off, piss some people off. That's how you grow. Like that's how you gain more people who do like what you're saying and who do appreciate your honesty or your convictions. And sometimes I agree with that. And I want to just say literally everything that I'm thinking and like take it or leave it, too fucking bad. But I'm not quite there yet. So we'll see. And with that, leave us voicemails, send messages. If there are any vets, vet techs, pet owners who have been through cancer with their pets, I would love, love, love to hear from you. Please email us, leave us a voicemail, send us a DM, whatever. I think email is always good just because there's no like limit on how long the message can be. You can also text our voicemail number, and that is in the show notes. And I am going to stop talking and go make dinner at 8:41 at night. Sorry, this is late. love all of you who are still here listening and hanging out with me. And talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Bye, guys.